Hey, Shake Out the Moms Play Boys. I'm back in this video. I'm reacting to another Kevin Samuels video. This video is titled 47-year-old single mom thinks she has options. Before we get into the video, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. The channel blowing up. We're going straight like this. This is the Hey Big Head podcast. Make sure you check out the podcast. We're going to be really going crazy. All right, so let's get right into the video.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How old are you?
How old am I? 47.
You need to get somewhere with the lights in the front of you. Okay. All right. So, you have a question, or do you want? Because the topic is it time to expand options?
I would say definitely yes.
Okay. Yes, it is.
I think for me it is. I know for the past maybe 5
You think
years.
it's time for you to expand your options
Yes.
to non-black men?
Of course.
Do you have any children?
One.
How old?
She's 21.
How tall are you?
5'7".
Dress size?
I think I'm a 10.
How much did you weigh the last time you weighed yourself?
187. Are you serious?
What option do you have at half 100 and almost 200 pounds?
It's all in the right places. I'm solid. I used to be a track runner, so a lot.
What options do you have to expand at half 100 and almost 200 pounds?
Oh my gosh! So what options? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. To be honest with you,
what women who are almost 50 years old have a lot of options?
We don't have a lot of options.
So why do you think you can expand them outside of your race?
Well, because lately I've isolated myself only to my race. I've never really dated.
You haven't isolated yourself. Those are your only choices.
I would probably say yes and no.
So non-black men of value approach you.
I would say yes.
When was the last time a non-black man approached you in public with the intention of meeting you and taking you out on a romantic evening?
I would probably say probably a year ago.
And where'd you go?
At that time, I was not interested in dating.
No. That's bullshit.
I did okay. No,
that's
I'm not
bullshit.
watching you.
No,
like,
that's bullshit. No.
No.
I asked a very specific question, man.
Okay.
Were you single at the time?
Yes, I've been single for a while.
Right. So I asked you, when was a non-black man of value approached you with the intention of taking you out on a romantic date? You said a year ago.
Right.
How do you know he was interested in taking you out on a romantic date if you didn't go?
Well, because I was asked.
By whom?
Yes, I was asked.
By whom? By him?
Yes.
Did he already know you?
Yes, we were acquainted with each other.
How were you acquainted?
We've known each other for a while, and
so in other words, see how you understand, guys? I said approached. Somebody that you know doesn't approach you. Approach means the implication is a stranger.
Oh, stranger. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I have not had that.
Right.
Okay. I agree. Okay. I just got it wrong. So.
I mean, I'm curious though. Why do you think the solution lies in non-black men at your age?
You know what? I'm not saying that is the solution. I'm just saying that maybe I should try something new and try to date something, outside of my race. I would love to date a black man, like my father.
But ma'am, you said it's time for me to expand my options.
Yes. Because I'm not having, I'm still single, trying to date in my race. So now I'm just thinking outside of the box. Should I date outside of my race and see if I get a different result? Or should I?
You don't have those options.
Okay.
I mean, I don't understand. It's like saying, let me see which Ivy League school I would go to. Princeton, Yale, Columbia, Brown, and you can't get in a junior college.
Mm.
Oh, I've been to a junior college. And I
At
have
50 years old, you should understand the analogy.
But you don't.
It's an analogy.
Let me pause it right here. Look. And, you know, I know a lot of single moms. I know actually a few single moms of age as well. This is a tough subject, you know. Do you still have options? I know we all want to be positive. We all want to be, we don't want to be offensive. We want to consider people's feelings. But at what point do we tell people the truth? At what point do you tell women, hey, look, you're 47, you're older, you know, you're probably very demanding, right? You're not even fit. You're right. You're a size 10. You weigh more than a man your height. Why would a man of value choose you? Now, her real options are not good options, but she don't want the not good option. She wants an amazing option, right? Like Kevin Samuel said, she wants to go to Ivy League school, but she hasn't even graduated high school. She can't even get into, you know, a junior college. So, you know, this is a tough conversation, but let's be real. What options does a 47-year-old single mom have that's not even in the best shape of her life?
The comparison. Seriously? Man, why are you postulating things that don't really are possibilities?
So you don't, I mean, so you don't.
You don't have non-black men of value approaching you to date you.
Okay.
So how can you expand that option?
And I wanted to give it a try and see what happens.
If no one's approaching you, how can you try it?
Well, like I said, I can say part of that is my responsibility, which I am going to take ownership with. I know with me, I do isolate myself.
Do you work from home?
Yes. And I've been working from home for the past 5 years before.
So how often do you leave the house?
I mainly leave the house mainly for leisure. Like if I go dancing, I love to hike. So I hike.
How often do you grocery shop?
I grocery shop once a week.
No, you don't go to the gym.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes. But you got to remember, I'm all solid. Like I don't have fat really. But
how many times a week do you go to the gym?
I go at least 3 times a week, and I hike on the weekends.
And you go to a local gym, or is it a woman's gym?
I'm open to. I go to a personal trainer, and I go to a regular gym. But most of my weight I put on during quarantine.
But if you go to the gym, then that's public.
Oh yeah.
And then you go grocery shopping once a week.
Yes.
That's at least 4 times a week you're in public.
Okay. And I go to church. I do go to church.
That's more time. So that means you're not locked in the house. So if non-black men found you appealing, they could approach you.
They could.
But they
That's
don't.
if I look.
But they don't.
Right, and they don't. And I don't understand why.
And I don't understand why.
Because they don't find you attractive.
Okay, I mean that's fine.
I want you guys to understand that. This is the black girl magic. These women have been pumped so much to where it's like I gave you the Ivy League example.
Oh my God. Okay.
And you're still talking about, well, I still want to expand my options to Ivy League.
I didn't say Ivy League. I just said to other.
God damn it! I gave an example. Are you? Oh Jesus! I gave an example. Do you want me to explain the example again?
No, you did not. I get your example.
Well, then stop acting silly, because it's going to go off the rails. I'm trying to have a conversation, and you're acting like you don't know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about.
Why don't you just deal with the reality, ma'am, that you don't have non-black men approaching you, and it's not likely that it's going to happen, especially at your age.
Yeah, if you weren't being approached by black men, I mean non-black men, in your younger years, the chances are that you're going to, as an old woman, white men, Arabic men, Hispanic men are just going to come out the woodwork. Unlikely. Very unlikely. Now, as far as her saying that she's solid, she don't got no fat, really, not true. I'm sorry. I mean, unless you are trying to be a bodybuilder, which I can tell you she's not, and even those people have a difficult time putting on lots of muscle and no fat. Some people achieve it, but very hard. Usually need steroids. It's unlikely that she's 180, 187 pounds and just pure solid muscle. Unlikely. So, listen, I get ladies. I know it's hard to lose weight. I know you struggle. That's why I'm personally a personal trainer. If you need my help, reach out to me. But the reality of it is, if you're struggling to lose weight, you probably got to just change your diet. Eat more veggies, eat less dead animals, right? Let me say it with me again. Eat more veggies, less dead animals. If you're really smart, cut out all the dead animals. You really don't even need it. Why would you even put something dead inside your living body? Kevin Samuels never said this, but I'm going to say it. Don't put dead things in your living body, right? When you eat plants, you eat living things. I digress, but either way, you know, it's sad. She doesn't have that many options. Women are very subject to emotions, and this is why them being positive is good, because her being negative, she could easily, you know, go off the rails and jump off a bridge. We don't want that, right? We don't want you jumping off a bridge just because you don't have that many options. But we need you to be very honest about what your options are. They're limited, and they're men that are below value and average value. They're not high value. Let's just get that straight.
Okay.
This is not how it works. Especially men they didn't have any value because we tend to be more race loyal the older we get and the more we are socioeconomic status. What's going on with your audio? Am I on speakerphone?
I have you, on the speaker. I don't have anything in my ear.
Okay. When was the last time you had a relationship?
It's last time I had a committed relationship, I could say it was 5 years ago.
When was the last time you had sex?
Last time I would say about 2 years ago.
What? Huh?
There you go.
Whew.
Relationship 5 years ago, sex 2 years ago.
Whew.
Effectively, you're kind of dead from the waist down.
Okay,
You don't really get out, you say you don't get out to socialize or whatever. You said you had somebody that you were familiar with, and he approached you and you turned it down.
And I have reasons behind that, but
whatever they are, ma'am.
You know,
The only common denominator in your dating history is you and your inability to connect with anybody.
I can agree to that when it comes to dating. Yes.
Okay, so how we got down this crooked path is the notion that a jagged pill, like you're describing, should expand your options. What was a man's race have to do with your situation?
And I'm not saying that a man's race have to do anything with my situation. I'm just saying that I've never given that an opportunity to try to date out of my race. So just to have that available, like I want to leave that option open and available if that opportunity did come.
Okay.
That's all.
Sure. Not really reality, but fine. Well, why aren't you actively trying to put yourself out here?
Oh, now, to be honest, yes, now I am. And I do find myself.
But you have a 21-year-old.
21.
Mm-hmm. And you're 40 what?
47.
So why have you just kind of given up?
Like in dating, I don't know.
Because this happens a lot with our generation. Our women seem to really focus a lot on their career, and then they'll focus on raising their child. And once the child gets to be 18 and 21, you got women in their mid 40s, early 50s with no real relationship skills.
Right.
Thinking you can still date like you did in your 20s.
Right.
Mm.
So, and I know that's the part of my life that I damaged. I take full responsibility of that because I was too afraid coming out of the relationship that I was in, and I did not want to be damaged goods to somebody
How
else.
long ago was that relationship over?
With my daughter's father or the 5-year relationship?
Whichever one you said was damaged, I'm assuming your daughter's father.
I would say both of them were, very hurtful relationships. My daughter's father was after I had my daughter, I had no relationships with him afterwards. And then the other relationship, that was
So, so,
5 years ago.
so I'm curious. Let me switch this. Let me switch gears.
Okay.
What do you tell your daughter when it comes to relationships and to rank them and their priority?
That has always been a struggle for me, to tell you the truth.
What do you tell her?
Because, go ahead.
What do you tell her?
I tell her the things that I wish I
Is a
would have done.
relationship? Do you tell her to prioritize relationships?
Mm.
No, I don't. I'm gonna tell you, yes, I don't.
So basically, you're dooming her too.
And I think I do that, you know. Um, and I think that I do tell her to prioritize that.
Yeah, but
And
you don't
then
do it. But you don't. But she doesn't see you doing it.
right. And I know that
So
too.
basically, and the reason I brought this up is because people with only children, especially with daughters or having one daughter, those daughters tend to end up jacked up.
Mm.
I did a show talking about our modern mothers destroying their daughters, and they are because most daughters look at their mothers and like, well, damn, she doesn't talk about relationships like they're positive. It's all fear based. She doesn't teach me anything, hasn't taught me anything. Let's see. Is your daughter a good student?
Well, she's not in school right now, but when
Was
she
she a
did,
good student in high
yeah,
school?
she was average,
Mhm.
you know.
When you
She
talk,
had got C's and
when you
D's.
speak to your daughter, when you speak to your daughter, how often do you contact her or does she contact you?
My daughter still live at home.
Okay. 21?
Yes.
What is she doing?
Well, she just got her CNA license,
Okay.
and now she's working on her RN license. So I've given my
Do you
daughter.
talk to your daughter about your relationship problems?
Yes, I do. Because now I'm noticing
Is she
her.
like your best friend then?
Yeah, me and my daughter talk. I've all
Mm-hmm.
because
So
I've been
basically, what you're
working.
creating is called a mother wound.
Mm.
What do you mean by that?
Mother wound. Hold your emotional baggage. Make my mother feel better. Listen to her problems. Agree with her opinions. Never say no. Be a best friend. Talk
Well,
about
I
this
don't. I've
mother-daughter
only
attachment
talked.
style because ultimately, man, um, daughters look. See, we're used to faulting fathers, and women who are not happy with their dating lives tend to not make it look appealing to their daughters.
Mm.
So their daughters tend to end up like, well, damn. It's not like you talk about men in a good or glamorizing way or anything. It's like, well, men are something to be avoided
Yeah,
or
I've never
leery
done.
of. Huh?
I've never done that to her.
Well, whether you do it, whether you say it or not, you don't have good things to say about men in relationships.
I mean, how can you, right? If her experience has been not good with her child's father, if she's 47 years old, still single, still hasn't figured it out yet, what good can she do for her daughter? Because bigger than what anyone does as far as what you tell them and what you try to convince them of, they look at what you do. Children, adults, everybody looks at what people do and they'll behave similar to it. And that's the issue that she's going to run into with her child. Is her child's going to mimic her and essentially just become, she's essentially going to become a single woman as well, maybe even a single mom, and she's kind of forming an attachment style with her daughter, where her daughter's kind of becoming like her daughter husband, right? The daughter's going to become like now the new lover in a sense. That's not good. And Yeah, this is a generational thing. This is a lineage. Now we could see, and you could see with this example that there's a lineage of single moms. This thing doesn't just happen. You know, it's kind of you're kind of groomed to be a single mom. Your mom was a single mom, then you become a single mom, and then the child that you raise become a single mom. It's all a lineage, you know. And so you can have a generational structure where people are getting married, or you can have a generational structure where people are just single parents. And, you know, people, the sad thing is that if someone's parents do it, whoever their parents are, if your parents do something, you tend to look at that as the norm. What our parents do, oh, this is normal because my mom does it. My dad does this. This is normal. Your whole life, you start viewing the world through the lens of a child viewing your parents. And you compare the world to, you know, your lens of your parents. And a sad thing is that, oh, my mom's a single mom. That's okay. I've heard it all the time, you know, and so tragedy, but let's continue listening.
You're living life off grid for the most part. So if women, okay, if your daughter saw you with the men or talking about how great men are to have around, why men are so valuable and so important, and what you should do to make a man happy because men are so special, her outlook on manhood and relationships will be very different than get your degree, go to school, get your CNA, you know, get out here. And like you said, relationships are not a priority. So basically you're teaching your daughter to grow up and be you.
No, well, the thing is, Kevin, is that I've even pushed that on my daughter to make it a priority, but I do feel that she needs a level of education to be able to take care of herself.
Exactly what I just said.
Right, right. So my thing is with her.
Again, they make their daughters carbon copies of them, and they give their daughters fear, scarcity, and lack. Their success, your daughter's success, is not in a man; it's in a job and an education.
But I've always told my daughter that
it is not you have taught your daughter like so many women taught. Okay. We teach our kids by what we say, but also what we do. Has your daughter ever had a serious boyfriend?
She did have one after she
When?
graduated
How
from high
old?
school. She was about 19, between 18 and 19.
And how long were they together?
It didn't last that long, about maybe six months. It didn't last that long at all.
She's 21 years old and lives at home.
Mm-hmm.
So your daughter, it's called sister daughters. Okay. Your daughter is like your sister.
No, I'm mom.
Okay. If you talk to your daughter about your personal problems, that's not what moms do.
This is what I do with my daughter. I do with her what's age appropriate, or if I feel the conversation is needed to be had. So if my daughter came to me,
what do you tell your daughter men are for?
I tell my daughter about what men are for, to be, you know, providers, to be a support system, to be a companionship. You know, I tell my daughter about
and what does your daughter see you mirror? What does your daughter see you?
You know what? At? And I'm guilty of that. Like I sit back.
Thank you. Stop, breathe.
Right. I do.
You just running your mouth. You say one thing and do another. Right. You're talking about men are supposed to be providers, but there ain't no men providing for you. Right? Men are supposed to be companions, which, by the way, I really hate when women say we're companions. A dog is a companion. Men were not companions. Some women call us dogs, but we're not companions, okay? A dog might lick you up and do all kind of crazy stuff when they see you and hug you and excited to see you, but a man's not a dog. A man takes care of things in the house, outside the house, protects you, provides for you. We're not a companion. So please don't compare us to dogs. If you buy a dog and die alone, that's not like dying with your husband. It's not the same.
Stop, breathe. Stop, breathe. Stop and breathe.
Yeah, sorry. I do.
Stop and breathe. Stop and breathe. You have told your daughter a bunch of stuff that you ain't living. And she's seen mama live a life off the grid. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And you know, I'm not disagreeing with you, Kevin, at all.
But what I'm saying is, when I said sister daughter, it's like, no, I'm mom. No, your sister. You've
Well,
talked
maybe
to
because I
her.
don't see it that way.
Okay, like it or not, you ain't my first rodeo.
Mm.
And the bottom line is this is important because if we don't start having more women recognize what they're doing to their daughters are going to end up living their lives. Your daughter is on the path to becoming an independent woman. No man. And what do you think is going to happen? Likely
I hope it
happen.
doesn't happen.
What do you think is likely going to happen if she continues down this path? Inside of 9 years, likely will have a baby because that's this path. 80% of our children are born out of wedlock because we have mothers who don't prioritize relationships with their daughters. They prioritize making sure that their daughters have jobs and careers and degrees and debt and everything else. Because you don't even have it in your life because the main thing that's running through your head is fear and this and that. And I'm like, this is a cycle.
I know.
And it has to stop with you ladies. Your generation of women has to get real about your lives, where it is, and what you've done to the younger women. Because you're the women they're looking at. That's why I have so many young women calling into my show because you're their mother.
And I can accept that 100%. Because now that I've, gotten older and kind of look back over things, most of the things that you have said, it's been true. But how do I undo a lot of the things that I have done? And that's
you have to own it. You have to own it first.
Right.
When somebody tells you something, hold on. When somebody tells you something, you don't say, no, this isn't it. No, that is it. And just like, here's the thing.
Well, but that was
listen. One of the biggest issues right now is at 47, you're still in a position, right, wrong, or indifferent, where you're still trying to salvage the bit of life you have left to get some happiness out of it. Okay. And the difference is we had grandparents our age, they didn't have to do that. They were married for 20 plus years. They weren't single. Single people are individual. They're not worried about it. You're worried about your dating options. When your focus should really be if we were children, the women your age, their focus was us. Their focus was come over to Granny's house. I'm gonna bake my baby some cookies. Come stay with grandmama. Can I go? Who let that baby stay over here? You will be in tug of war between your mom and your grandparents' house or your auntie's house. We had an abundance of love because we didn't have a bunch of goddamn single women trying to get out here and ride the train and figure out how to expand their options. Their option was in the other room, even if the man had passed on. We got a bunch of single, older women who are looking at their daughters and saying, I made a mistake. I didn't know, but mama got a life too, and I don't have but another good 10 years before and it's human nature. Human nature, survival is hardwired into us. And so many of our Generation X women are trying to have a relationship to survive. The very thing that you didn't prioritize in your youth. And the sad part is, maybe the answer is not that you get your relationship. Maybe the answer is you actually help your daughter understand the value of a man.
And that's
instead of worrying about expanding your options, you give her better choices than you had.
And that's what I have been doing. Like I totally agree with you. And I've been trying to figure that out, that I don't want to be a stumbling block for her. Like I want her to possibly get married one day and have a family because I didn't have that opportunity. So when
No, you did have the opportunity. You just didn't do right on that opportunity. You gave a man that you wouldn't marry a child. That was mistake number one. And now you're trying to stop your child from doing the same thing. The reality is that you think you did a good job with your daughter. No, you didn't. See, a lot of people don't understand to do a good job with people, you need to do a good job with yourself. In order to treat people right and take care of people, you got to take care of yourself. And that doesn't mean be selfish and be a narcissist. That means is that how you live your life is going to influence how other people, live their lives around you, right? So there's a saying, I really like the saying, take care of you for me, and I'm going to take care of me for you. Meaning that you got to put your oxygen mask on first when it drops out the ceiling, okay? You can't be trying to save everybody because by the time you try to put a mask on somebody else, you passed out. So you got to take care of you for me, and I'll take care of me for you. Or in other words, clean your doorstep, clean your bedroom instead of worrying about other people cleaning theirs. So be better for yourself, and you actually be better for everyone else, but not in a selfish way. People take this phrase and they turn it into that means cheat, steal, lie to get ahead. No, because honestly, that doesn't build good character either. So be a good person through in and throughout, and you'll see that results in your children, in your friends, in your relationships, in your professional relationships. You'll see that everywhere, but she just doesn't want to look wrong. She doesn't want to look bad. She wants to look like she did the right thing from the jump, that she didn't make any mistakes. And this is just delusion and no accountability, right? Just take accountability. Hey, look, I didn't, my dad used to say this to me. I give my dad a lot of credit. He says, don't ask me about advice about women. Look at my life with women, right? My dad had a lot of issues with women. And he said, don't ask me about advice with women. I didn't do good myself. And I take that as valuable advice, because he's pretty much saying that he held himself accountable in a lot of ways that women don't. So she should tell her daughter, don't take advice from me about men, because look at my relationship with men, right? She should, if anything, show her daughter other women to look up to. That, to me, I think would be a better example.
He does meet someone. I'm not trying to sabotage it. I try to support her the best way I can.
The reason many daughters don't get married is because they don't want to leave their mothers.
And I can see that with my own daughter, and I'm pushing.
I know, ma'am. I study this material.
And I agree. Like right
now. So
my
point is, listen.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you may understand, or you can speak aspirationally, but if you're not actually telling your daughter, don't worry about mama, I want you to have a husband.
I told her that. I've said that.
But you gotta. You've been on this planet long enough to know it's not what we say, it's what we do.
And I agree with you on that. And I agree.
So when we talk about relationships, when you tell me about your relationship history, it's all negative.
It sucks. It does.
Then how can you speak positive to her?
I mean, like I said, Kevin, it's like one of the things that I recognize. Like, I recognize my mistakes. I take ownership of my mistakes.
I'm not trying to get you to take ownership of mistakes. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you can't do it alone.
I understand, and I know that too. Like, I have my brother.
This is one thing that I think older women are going to start doing. You're going to start bringing your daughters around men.
Right.
Because the only thing you have to pull from to talk to your daughter about is relationships that didn't work. And your issues with that man.
I totally agree. Yo,
be quiet. Be quiet. The problem is that you know it all. I know. Anytime you're trying to teach somebody and they say, I know, they're not listening. What they're trying to say is, look at me, I'm right. Look, I'm agreeing with you because I'm right. Right? That's what all they're trying to convince you that they were right all along. Oh, this is something I already knew. Oh, I already knew this. Then what are we having a conversation for? If you're not taking nothing away from this conversation, then what are we even talking about? If you knew all this stuff, then why? If you knew better, then how come you're not doing better? She keeps trying to convince Kevin, saying, look at him, he's frustrated. Oh, I knew this. I know, I'm right. I agree with you. I'm doing the right thing. That's all she's communicating. She's not communicating. Well, you know what, Kevin? That's a really good point. I need to try that. I do need to bring my daughter around men. I do need to bring my daughter around an example that's better for her than me. She's not saying that. You know what she's saying? Oh, I know. And these are the worst people to coach. They're not coachable. Accountability is admitting that you didn't know something and you learned something from the person trying to teach you something. That's accountability. Not the I already know. It gets so, bro, it gets so frustrating. This contributed to Kevin Samuels dying early, because the amount of stress that these women gave this man, unbelievable. He had to absorb the stress out of all the situations. Sorry to say this, Kevin Samuels, because you grew up with your mama, your daddy wasn't around, you learned your mama's ways, respectfully, and so you inherited stress, you got mad, you got frustrated, and you took on all this, the burdens of the world, and look at you. Rest in peace, Godfather, man. Yo. I ain't gonna do the same, Playboys. I ain't gonna do the same. These girls, when I start doing my live streams, y'all ain't gonna stress me out. Y'all not gonna stress me out.
And that's the one thing that I did try. Like when I do date, I do try to bring, like if I do go out on a date and I'm comfortable with the person, I try to let my daughter see me date, to see the bad, the good, and the ugly. So
That's not what I'm talking about, man.
mm,
But I'm glad you said it because it is still about you.
okay. And I don't want to make it about me. So
It is. It's about you. This is what I mean. This is why so many young women are coming to these platforms because, like it or not, whether you intend it or not, your generation failed these women. And y'all need to own it. Y'all failed these women.
okay.
Because we are quick to say that our father's generation failed us. We're quick to say deadbeat dads and absentee fathers. Well, goddamn it, y'all, it's time for y'all to start admitting we have failed our daughters. We do not speak about relationships with men as anything to be positive, happy, or to build any kind of anticipation. Do your daughters, do black daughters, what is going on with your speaker? Jesus Christ. Hold on.
You have an echo?
Hold on. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Do black daughters look at relationships like children looked at Christmas morning?
I could say mine's probably don't.
Do black daughters look at relationships like children looked at Christmas morning?
I would say mine's probably don't.
Do black daughters, not just yours,
Okay, I would say no. I would say probably say no.
then that is a failing of the mothers.
And I can take ownership of my part, yes.
Because Chris, because you know what I'm talking about. When you're a kid, we used to, Thanksgiving, we were on high alert. We were looking forward to Christmas morning. It was an event. It was a thing. The Christmas practice, the wrapping, the entire thing. It was not just it wasn't just the bicycle or the basketball or the whatever. It was the entire experience. But how are y'all talking about relationships? How are y'all living relationships? You know what? Relationships, if black relationships were Christmas presents, they would be a pair of socks put in a gift bag.
That's deep.
Who gets excited about getting a pair of socks in a gift bag? Nobody even took the time to wrap it. But you got a gift.
Right.
We got a Christmas tree with no lights, no tinsel, and a bunch of gift bags with socks under it. Merry fucking Christmas, black girls. And we wonder why our young ladies are so terrified of marriage to where they got to get this. Did you listen to the video where they had that 26-year-old young girl?
Yes, I saw it.
I got to get my bag. I got to get my bag. I got to get my bag. I got to get my hustle. Relationship's on a priority. And I'm like, why is this young lady who came from a relationship, and so many young girls feel like life is about money and careers and bags and so on and so forth, because that's what's been given to them by the women. Because you're the controllers of the culture, not us.
Right.
Women control the culture, not us. So it's all about hustling, getting the bags, so on and so forth, and we can't fix it.
Right.
The women have to sit back and do what women of old have always done. It's in your Bible. The elder women have to teach the younger women. But in order to do that, your generation of women is going to have to fall on the sword and say, my life is over, and I got to give up what's left of my life to teach this next generation. That requires you being selfless, not trying to expand your options. And that really goes against strong, independent, I don't need no man. My life, my choice goes against all this stuff. But I got news for you. If we don't get young black women in a position to want to be wives, we don't have a black community in 10 years. It's gone.
And I agree.
Gone. And it's gone because we don't have any wives. Young black girl, your daughter 21, in other races, your daughter got a 50+% chance of being married. 54% or higher. In our community, less than 20% after you take out the baby boom. And that ain't got nothing to do with the men or daddies. So I get it. Our generation, we were lied to. We got a bunch of misinformation. And it sucks because unfortunately, when I was a young man, because we're contemporaries, when I was a young man in the 90s, we paid for a lot of shit.
Right.
Go back and look at the movies in the 90s. Black men is gay down low. All you saw was black women moving and shaking in corporate America and the black men in the mailroom. We took a lot of shit. But now, men have gotten themselves into a position. We're not on cops anymore and this and that. 54% of black men are single and childless. 61% in the middle class. Clawed yourself into the position of respect. Now it's time for black men over 40 to experience what you guys got in the 20s.
Facts. I'm going to end it off there. Listen, man, this was a great video. A lot to it and a deep conversation, but a must-have conversation. So I'm glad I was able to watch that and review that and comment on that for you guys. You guys tell me what you think. Give me your comments. Give me your feedbacks. If you like this channel, please support the channel. We have our Cash App shape models. This is the Hey Big Head podcast. I'm going to start doing interviews. Tell me what topics you want me to cover, people you want me to cover. We're going to get right into it. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, throw the deuces up. Peace.